What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's hump day, y'all. I don't know what I'm going to do with my lady lumps. I might go ahead and do a little Humpty Dance later on. It just depends on what I'm feeling like. Right now, I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to enjoy, the morning, what's left of it. And I'm going to get on over here and get into some of these things. Good morning, Motown investor. You reporting for duty? As am I. I had needed a couple few more minutes this morning. You know what I'm saying? Get my mind right. I went on a morning walk, so I'm very much energized. I've had my caffeinated, so I'm on my artificial energy as well. I had to take an allergy pill this morning, and sometimes some allergy pills make me sleepy, so I need a little bit more motivation. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's hump day. Let's get on into the thing. Where do y'all want to start? Let's start here. God did it again. I woke up, and no matter what today brings, I'm starting with a thankful heart. That's where I'm at with it. Sometimes, you have to be in the mindset to be thankful and positive and, conjure up all the energy that it takes, you know what I'm saying, to get through the day because we don't always know what the day is going to bring. Good morning, Elsid. You at my blackety job. I'm at my blackety job too, child. Elsie would like for y'all to like, share, and subscribe, and I would like for you to do the same. I'm doing my thing slowly but surely, one foot at a time, climbing up this hill to monetization. It ain't been easy, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and stay positive about that thing because God did it again. I woke up, and no matter what today brings, I'm starting with a thankful heart. So I'm gonna be thankful for y'all that are here and that support me because that's the important thing. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy, my time over here spent with, the community. And so hopefully y'all will have a thankful heart today as well, regardless of what this hump day brings. Sometimes the hump be humping, and sometimes, it's a smooth little ride. I can't tell you, to be honest, what it's gonna be. I'm trying to be in a positive mindset. And so, yeah, so far, so good. Let's go ahead and get into the things. It's not a lot going on out here, in the internet sphere, timeline, and such. But, I'm always find something to discuss because that's what I'm here to do. This is something that I'm going to go ahead and get into because where do we talk about over here on Coffee Talk? We talk about Black excellence, Black history, a little bit of current events, and a little bit of celebrity gossip or what have you. So we're going to start here with some positivity. A Black family makes history with 20 Jamba Juice locations in the Bay Area, proving the power of Black businesses and the community impact. I love that it's a family. Like, it's not always easy to get your family on board with whatever it is you're trying to do. So, teamwork makes the dream work, and 20 is a good number. I don't know if these are the only family members involved, but I only see 4 here. So that's how you delegate and get things done. I don't know. We'll get into the story. So it says, this Black family just made history acquiring 20 Jamba Juice franchises in the San Francisco Bay Area. Their success is more than business ownership, it's about representation, community impact, and generational wealth. From teamwork to vision, they're proof that when we invest, we create opportunities bigger than ourselves. Would you support a Black owned Jamba Juice? Well, I absolutely would if they were in my area. I've never Jamba Juice, but I'm not opposed to it. And I know there's a lot of smoothie people out there that that's how they start their day. And franchising is a I think slept on opportunity a lot of the times. Good morning to go to Africa. I think it's a slept on opportunity. I think a lot of times where you people hear people that are like, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur, and we're like, of what? We have questions of what it is they do. But franchising is something like, if especially if it's something that you frequent and it's part of your regular routine to go on through, the Jamba Juice place and make it a family thing. I think, you can't really have generational wealth if your family members, your kids are not interested in the business. So you got to get them there, um, and show them, this is a franchise that you don't have to. The blueprint is already there. All you have to do is put in the work. Look at there. There's all, down to the community. If you are a walker, or not necessarily, a lot of people walk the malls and plazas and things like that, but I think these are opportunities as families that we can take to spend time, talk to our children. It's an after school thing. We have to fit these things into our lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the nutritional value of Jamba Juice, but I know it has to be better than McDonald's. And I love the idea of franchising with your families. This is something you could talk about with them when they're in high school, or, what a great graduation gift is to have your own location of Jamba Juice, especially if you're, focusing on business. So shout out to them. It's always good news. 20, like I said, that's a big number. So, yeah, congratulations to them, inspiring us to do more. Are we inspired by this? Because this is what's going over down to the White House. The construction is underway for UFC Octagon on White House lawn. This is the most ghetto shit I think I've ever heard of. But, look who's over there running things. Why is this happening? Crews are building a $60 million octagon cage on the White House South Lawn ahead of next month's UFC event. UFC. And when I saw this, I was like, it has to stand for something other than what I think. But, I was wrong. Which is supposed to celebrate America's 250th anniversary and President Donald Trump's 80th birthday. Oh my God, 80. How much longer is he going to be here, for God's sakes? Anyway, when is his birthday? What sign is he? I don't know. I have to look that up. Do y'all know what sign is that man? Renderings show the fight space surrounded by red, white, and blue staging, large screens, and thousands of temporary seats for attendees. Just on the grass out front the White House? Okay. What that security look like? Anyway. TKO, the UFC's parent company, and the UFC are funding the entire temporary arena in Octagon. Who's funding it? TKO. I'm not familiar, but they got 65 million. Is it 65 or 60? They got upwards of 60 million to throw a UFC party. The UFC match is one of several events planned for the country's semi quintessential celebration, alongside IndyCar race near the White House and the Great America State Fair on National Mall. It says, first comment. I always go to the first comment. Mind you, Obama wore a tan suit and conservatives lost their minds. Trump is building a ring on the White House lawn for a cage match, and suddenly they have no feedback at all. I was like so confused. When I saw UFC, I was like, that can't be what that is. This is an abomination. I can't think of a better word to call Africa. I would agree with you. UFC ugly F creation. It's just like, it's what is happening on the White House lawn. This is some trailer park shit if I ever heard. Y'all might as well never ever say we ghetto ever again, because this is ghetto. These UFC people, like, aren't those the kick you in the teeth people? Like, that's like boxers, but don't they like just, they're in a cage. So, there's that. Anyway, this is what's going on down to the White House, y'all. Anybody going? Who all going? Who all is going to the UFC Octagon on the White House lawn? Ciao. They be over there attempting things. I hope they got their security together. And 80, how much more? How much more, Lord? For goodness sakes. He's 80. Moving on. China sinks AI servers underwater using ocean cooling to cut energy use and reduce freshwater demand for data centers. This sounds like not a good idea, not any better than the one we working with, but okay, China, we're gonna listen to what y'all have to say. I don't know. I live in Florida and it's a hurricane, uh pathway. You know what I'm saying? So having heated oceans doesn't really sound like a good idea to me, but I don't know what the weather be doing over there in China, but I know there's a chain reaction to these things. When you start doing our environmental things like heating the ocean, is a chain reaction and other bad things start happening. So, we're going to see what they're talking about, but I'm like, I don't know if this is any better, child. Let's just get rid of the AI altogether. How about that? China has launched a massive commercial subsea data center off the coast of Shanghai's Lingang special area to handle high density AI and 5G computing workloads. The experimental facility, we experimenting in the ocean. Okay, that doesn't affect everyone, does it? I'm just saying. Seems like it would. The experimental facility houses roughly 2,000 servers sealed inside a massive pressure-resistant steel pod submerged 35 meters beneath the ocean's surface. By utilizing the naturally freezing and stable temperatures of the seabed as a passive heat sink, the systems completely remove the need for traditional energy-hungry industrial cooling towers. This marine engineering approach directly solves two of the biggest environmental bottleneck plaguing modern artificial intelligence infrastructure. That's a mouthful. Power grid strain and massive water consumption. The subsea setup lowers total power consumption by more than 22% and completely eliminates the need for fresh water, saving millions of gallons that land-based data centers typically evaporate for cooling. To maximize sustainability, the facility connects directly to nearby offshore wind farms using ocean current and maritime wind to run high-performance GPU clusters with nearly zero carbon emissions. This explanation is not designed for regular folks to even know what the hell they're talking about. You're talking about Trump. He's allegedly made so many visits recently to the hospital that things go well. He may not be able to attend. I'm hoping, maybe, we'll turn it into a cage funeral, and y'all can wild out and climb all up the side since that's what y'all like to do. He has the white ghetto or trailer park mentality. This is why MAGA types can relate to him. Absolutely. Even though they don't like to admit that. Along with the intellectuals. So, I don't know. Is it televised? We'll see. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be a cage funeral and, I'm not going to take it back. Yeah, this conversation is designed. I know, El Cid, I know. I be trying to be careful, but I can't always. Sometimes, I need to get talked off the ledge. Thank you for coming, help me control myself. But anyway, to go to Africa started it. I was over here talking about submerging AI data centers under the sea. And when I came back over here to the chat, to go to Africa was trying to encourage me to step outside, my good behavior. So I'm going to blame her. It's Hub Day Wednesday, and that's just how that's going to have to be. She at her blackity job, so, she got to be careful. Do you got to be careful? Do we have to be careful? Anyway, I must stay out the, Elsie, it's Hump Day Wednesday, and today I'm blaming to go to Africa. So, that's just how it's going to be. And I'm not going to take it back. But, anyway, what do y'all think? Like, this jibber jabber over here is designed for us not to know what the hell they're talking about. All I can work on is logic. I am not no marine biologist. I don't know anything about submerging AI servers underwater. I was just born with an instinct, and my instinct says, I'm not sure about this. because it's the ocean. And so what's going to happen, with all this AI, whatever these things are even made out of? We don't even know what this thing is made out of. Is it nuclear? Like, what is it doing? It's going to eat the ocean water, and that's supposed to make us feel more comfortable? I think fall back. Fall back would be my answer. Fall back, and let's don't be data, storing people's things. How about that? Let's just make the data smaller. We don't need to have data on everything. What'd you say, to go to Africa? I'm sorry. I'll try to avoid doing it again. You can blame me. See, Elle said, she said I can blame her today. Not every day. Everybody has their day. And it is what it is. Sounds like Series B, alien came for our water. Elsid, sometimes I think, they always talking about alien invasions. And I'm like, has it already happened? Is that what this is? Have we already been invaded? And they over there in that house in the, that's hosting the UFC fight? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Anyway, this doesn't make me feel comfortable. So, China, I guess, y'all, but this does not make me feel comfortable at all. This makes me feel concerned. So the problem is not the water. It's not the clean water. It's not the ocean water. It's the data centers. So, let's figure out how to, undo that. But we're not going to do that because somebody wants to sit somewhere watching the moves of everyone over here, monitoring my page. Because I don't know how to behave myself on Hump Day Wednesdays. Whew. While we're talking about water, here's another situation.
For somebody from the government, county, or somebody to come down, and I like for you to drink it. That's what I want you to do. Drink it, see how you like it. That's disgusting. That's a brand new well. $11,000 well that me and my grandmother had to get drilled here, and now 5-6 years later we got to deal with this.
All across the state of West Virginia, people are experiencing horrible water quality, and who's to blame? The government. The government is trying to poison hardworking Americans, and I've had enough of it. This is what happens when you roll back environmental protections. This is the Trump administration's fault. They're trying to kill people. This is bullshit.
Well,
I would love
enough of it. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. Listen, paging Aaron Brockovich. Yeah. We were talking about Georgia yesterday. Flint was in the conversation, although their water situation was different. Jackson, all these places, now it's over here in West Virginia. The people in China said throw it in the ocean. So I don't know if that's a solution, but he's had enough. I can sit there and listen to them talking all day. It's just very entertaining to me for some reason. They have so much info on all of us already. It's scary that they feel that they need more. Exactly. Like, do I need to clock in to go take a dump, for God's sakes? I spend my days trying to not care about what other folks got going on. When I go outside and see my neighbors, I throw up my hand, to keep it moving. I don't know what they're doing over there. And I don't, they don't know what I'm doing over here. Mostly nothing. And I feel like that's what most people are doing. The only one that's up to shady shit is them. Hello, Epstein people. But they want to keep tabs on us. Now they got these people over here in West Virginia very upset because, their water's being affected. And not for nothing. I'm making light of it to some extent, but it ain't light. You know what I'm saying? These people living like everybody's not big city people. So they live in like country life. Look at that. That looks like chicken noodle soup. That should not be. What do you do? What do you do in that? And then please make me understand, because please make me understand how you can really live your life off of bottled water. Like, I mean, you can, but the idea of having to bathe and how many times a day, you ever have an issue in your area where they have to cut the water off and you're without the water use of water for like no an hour, and how inconvenienced you are, and you're like, God dang it, how many times do I got to go to the sink? Imagine you have to have bottled water for that every single time, and nobody's gonna shower in that piss water. Ugh. Things have been bad in West Virginia for a very long time. They just finally learning how bad it is. Well, I bet you some of them, especially Mr. I've had enough, probably voted for, your boy over here down to the hospital trying to see what's going on. Child, I don't know. For me, it's scary. I feel like every day, data center, data center. I'm sure they're here too. It's Florida. They best not start throwing that shit in the ocean over here, because I tell you what, the ocean over here is already screwed. We just might crack and fall off into it. A black man who received $1 million after 25 years for wrongful conviction is ordered to return the money. What money? What are you talking about? I ain't got it. Shout out to Tasha K. I know you lying. So Desmond Ricks, an African-American man from Detroit, Michigan, spent 25 years in prison for a murder he did not commit. After his release, he received more than $1 million from the state, but the court has now ordered him to repay that money following a separate multi-million-dollar settlement. What? Ricks constantly maintained his innocence while serving decades in Michigan State Prison. When his conviction was overturned, the state compensated him under the Wrongful Imprisonment Compensation Act, which pays about $50,000 for every year someone is wrongfully incarcerated. The payments total roughly $1.25 million. Ugh, it seems like not enough. I'm sorry. His attorney, Wolf Mueller, said the amount failed to reflect the scale of which Ricks endured. I agree. Desmond Ricks endured the worst harm and suffering you can imagine, Mueller said, according to WXYZ. 25 years in a cage for a crime he didn't commit. The compensation under the state, $1.25 million, doesn't come close to the harm he suffered. I would agree with that. Ricks later settled a lawsuit with the city of Detroit for $7.5 million. We're getting closer. The case accused the city and two police officers of falsifying bullet evidence tied to the 1992 murder investigation that led to his conviction. After that settlement, the state demanded repayment of WICA funds. No, I deserve both things. I deserve monies from all the places that I deserve monies from. So y'all, miss me with that. He got 7, so we want ours back. No, you paid yours for a reason, because you did a wrongful thing. You have nothing to do with. That's like you win the lottery and then you win the lottery again, and they be like, you can't win twice. Give us all some of that money back. Michigan law requires people to return wrongful imprisonment compensation if they later receive money from a third party. Bullshit. Connected to the same case, Ricks challenged the rule, but the Michigan Court of Appeals ruled that the repayment requirement still applied. I think he deserves to keep both things. I think they should kick rocks. I think this is ridiculous. That clause is crazy. So it's a setup because they know you're going to sue. First of all, 1.2 million is nothing close to 25 years. Basically $50,000, like so, and you can't. That's not enough. So you want me to, and then he was taxed on the money. They need to stop. You said we are responsible for giving them a lot of info about us using Google. Oh, you talking about, the information we do. We do it every day. Facial recognition. Now AI is going to be able to take your fingerprint. It's a lot. We giving it up. We giving our hands straight to the handcuffs without them even asking. Yes, they want them to repay the money. I think this law needs to be looked at. So whoever is over there down to the state representatives, can we let them know that this is going to be an issue and this needs to be changed? You took away 25 years of my life. You owe me this money. Plus, that ain't enough. And so whatever I do on the other side is nothing to do with y'all. Miss me with that. He gonna have to pay it back, it looks like, but I think this is bullshit. We need to look into that. That's crazy. The fact that they even have that you know, in the appeals court, the fact that that's even in writing, Michigan law, it's a law, requires you to return the wrongful imprisonment compensation. Because they know, they give you that little bitty money. They know you're going to go pursue other things. They know you're going to sue outside of that. So they probably always get their money back. That's crazy. Crazy. And of course, am I going to take 7 million versus 1.2 million? You said, RPC, you said you wish they would ask you for the money. I ain't got it. Like Tasha K, I ain't got it. How about this? I'll just, put it on my credit report. Because apparently Anonymous is finna wipe that clean anyway. So there's that. Oh, I wish I know what day that is. What day is y'all planning to wipe out? Y'all remember this lady that went up in this store and in this Horton's restaurant and started a fight with some teenagers and it didn't end well for her? Well, her family has they didn't call your boy Ben Crump, child. National Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump has officially been retained by the family of 75-year-old Anita Grayson following her death after the now viral confrontation inside of a Fort Wayne Tim Hortons, pushing the Indiana case into a completely different level of national attention. Why we got a civil rights attorney on this case? I'm just curious. I don't think this has anything to do with civil rights. And I think it's terrible that this lady is no longer with us, but I also think she is 100% responsible for, how this thing turned out. You went in this store and attacked some children and it didn't work out for your best interest. Crump, one of the most recognizable civil rights attorneys in America, known for representing the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, this is no comparison to that, announced his involvement as outrage continues to spread across social media, national news outlets, activist circles, and online communities across the country. Who's outraged? Because I haven't heard it. I know the family is upset. Obviously, they would be. I would be upset too. But I mean, what happened was, much to the fault of this woman. The controversy exploded after surveillance footage showed Grayson involved in a heated altercation inside the restaurant before collapsing during the incident. I wonder, so what if she wasn't 75? What if she was 40? What if she was 35 and she went in there and snatched them kids like that? Would we be having this conversation? Would it be now a civil rights situation? Early narratives online claimed Anita initiated physical contact first. However, frame-by-frame analysis of the video appears to show the employee making the first clearly visible physical contact before Anita responded by shoving back. I ain't seen it. The details has now become a major point of debate online as protesters begin gathering in front of Fort Wayne, demanding accountability, transparency, and possible criminal charges. As of now, no arrests have been announced publicly, and the Allen County Prosecutor's Office says the case remains under review. Many online are now warning this situation could become one of the biggest racial and civil rights flashpoints Indiana has seen in years, depending on how the authorities move forward. How is this related to civil rights? Even if I don't know what color those kids were, boys, boy, I don't know. But I don't know how this has anything to do with civil rights. Others argue the situation is being politicized too quickly before the full investigation is completed. I would agree with that. The case is now drawing attention far beyond Indiana, with national commentators, civil rights organizations, Black activist groups, conservative voices, and legal analysis all weighing in as pressure builds daily online. Do you believe the growing protests and national attention are justified, or do you think people are rushing to conclusions before the investigation is finished? Let's see what the first comment. One reason this case is escalating nationally is because the internet's original narrative may have been wrong. Many people first believe Anita Grayson shoved the employee first, but slowed down frame by frame. The review appears to show the employee making the first clearly visible physical contact before Anita responds. Well, then put it. We need to see that circulate. Now Ben Crump has entered the case. Protests are beginning in Fort Wayne, and people across the county are debating whether Indiana authorities are handling this fairly. If the roles or races were reversed, do you believe the arrest would have happened already? I don't like to do that because obviously, now this queen can rest in peace, the best attorney in the country. This is just some of the comments. We can debate back and forth, I guess, of, who started it. We need to see in the frame by frame. That's all I can say, because what we did see is the lady going there, and the altercation from what we could see started with her. Now, if that's not the case, then let's see it. Let's see. Let me catch up to what y'all was talking about. Next person to get money, send it off to. Oh, y'all talking about the money. They're trying to give insurrectionists. Yeah. They don't want to give him his. I mean, it's written in law. First kid was Latina. Manager is 20-year-old white woman. Okay. And they did ask her to leave. She can see and be trespass. Hey, High Vibe. Elsie, that's what I'm saying. I showed that video the other day or last week sometime. We looked at it, and the lady went in there angsty. This is all about some damn order wrong from the drive-thru. She came from the drive-thru. The argument was going on, and I don't know who put hands on who first. From what we could see, the lady shoved the people from behind the desk. We seen her approaching. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how much you're supposed to let somebody approach you before you get them off you. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm behind the counter and somebody's coming at me, eventually I'm going to respond. I just don't know how this has become a civil rights thing, because everything that happens between a person of color and a non-person of color is not always that. It just feels like, to me, some teenagers was in there, and this old lady came in there with an attitude, and an altercation ensued. You say I need more information about this before you can form an opinion. I agree. I mean, but we know what we saw on the video, and if there's some different evidence, then they need to put that out there too. Ben Carson is over here, child. I understand, like I said, that the family is outraged. They lost a family member. It looked like a woman who snapped, who happened to be Black. Good morning, Pac. You need to hear the audio. I don't think there probably is any audio, because it was just, surveillance camera from the business. I don't know. Like I said, she didn't die that we know of, because it's still under investigation from the injury. She got herself worked up when she went in there. Like, was it heart related? The reason why, she's no longer with us, she died of a heart attack. That's what I'm saying. Like, she could have been worked up. that heart attack could have been already happening. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. And then she went in there and this whole thing happened. She didn't die because of an injury to, from the fight. And then when everything, when she fell out, they, helped her in the chair, give her some water. They were probably scared too. I'm sorry. I don't care what color these people were. They was kids, 17, 19, 20, mistakes were made. I would say on all sides, because I would hope that in a situation I wouldn't haul off and hit somebody. But I have slapped an old white woman upside the head with a bag of lettuce, and it was allegedly an accident. But, so I'll tell the story. I'm in the store and this lady kept reaching in front of me, acting like I wasn't standing there. Now, I don't know, old non-melanated person. And I'm not a teenager. I'm grown as hell. But I had to show her that if she keep bending over in front of me, something bad might happen. So I slapped her upside the head with a bag of lettuce. And she stood up and looked at me like, ooh. And nothing else happened after that. The old lady didn't fall out or anything. But what I'm saying is, you don't know what you're going to do if somebody approaches your space like that. I would hope that I would not slap the shit out of an old woman. But the way that lady was coming behind the counter, like, I feel like the counter is like, you don't approach beyond that. You're not supposed to go beyond the counter. So, yeah, go ahead and release the rest of them tapes. It seems like the lady had a heart attack and, she didn't, as far as we know, she did not pass away from any injuries from, the fall or anything like that. So, Ben Crump, go ahead and, I guess, let us see the surveillance tape so we can have an accurate opinion about things. But at the same time, like I'm saying, this is not civil rights. I just don't think it's that. I don't think everything that happens between, Black folks and non-Black folks is about civil rights. Sometimes it's just too much emotion, too much energy, too much, what you call it, adrenaline moving, and, something bad happened. So anyway, child, I saw this and I was like, this is so cute. Breaking news. I think this is her ad. But I thought it was like just a note, because we've been talking about traveling and a lot of people are already well traveled. But I think a lot of us who haven't traveled so much outside the country, there's things you need to know. So this is called Vacation Envy for Us. Sources report that authorities are investigating Vacation Envy International for repeatedly encouraging people to leave the country. That is so funny. According to insiders, V has been caught showing clients how to apply for passports, teaching travelers how to navigate international airports, introducing people to luxury resorts they never knew existed, encouraging grown adults to stop waiting for someday and see the world now, creating a group chat filled with travel tips, countdowns, and excitements, turning first-time travelers into world travelers. Witnesses say the organization has already been linked to suspicious activity in Turkey, Dubai, Thailand, Greece, Tanzania, Catalonia, and south of France, and the list keeps growing. One of the travelers stated, "I booked a trip and suddenly I'm pricing luggage sets, buying passport holders, and talking about Bali at brunch." I love this just because, like I said, we've been talking about travel so often. I think maybe a big part of traveling, what keeps people from traveling, is that they don't know. There's so much that they don't know, and it kind of, feel like, takes the fear out, where you can get questions answered before you leave. Let's see what y'all talking about. The old lady still sounds like hangry. She punched the worker first. They asked her to leave. High Vibe, that's what we were saying. That's what we saw. That's what we saw. Now, according to them, frame by frame, there is different evidence. What is suspicious behavior? Elsa, this is the way she framed her ad. It's not really suspicious behavior. She just framed her ad as a way to get your attention. She got my attention because the first thing I seen was travel agent under investigation. That's what brought me over here. And then it says DC area travel agent accused of designing luxury trips offering small deposits and monthly payments. So this is just her ad, and it worked. It got my attention. And like I said, I think a lot of people that don't travel for these reasons because they don't know where to start. So even showing somebody how to apply for the passport seems like a small thing, but I think it's a small thing that keeps people from taking the next step because they're like, I don't even know, you know what I mean? And a lot of times people are uncomfortable asking questions. I'm not that kind of person. I like to ask questions. If I don't know, then, I feel like, how the hell else am I going to know? But some people don't like to ask questions because they feel like asking questions makes them feel stupid. And I think a lot of times people go to other countries not knowing the rules, you know what I'm saying, not knowing what to do or, how to navigate. And this is information I think is cool to have, just chats and, more questions, a group where, we're all traveling to the same place and, you get all the stuff answered before you get there. You said good marketing is suspicious behavior. I mean, it worked. It worked. It got my attention. And then, when you investigate a little bit more, you find out a little bit more. What'd you say? Some people are afraid of flying and some are afraid to venture out of to doing something new. I think this, aside from her marketing, I think these are good things to look for and offer. I don't know travel agents that necessarily, like, she's letting you know what you could do over here. Don't be afraid to get outside your bubble. And if you are afraid, here, let me help you take the steps to do that. So I love it. Yeah, I love this idea. People live in their insecurities. They do. They live in their insecurities. And so they just kind of shy away from asking things. This way, this lady over here she's putting it out there. So even like with her list of things you can find out, I would think if you're afraid to travel, she kind of breaks down, puts you in a comfortable place, I think, to move forward. I think a lot of times people think about traveling and then you get to a space where, your kids are moving out and you're by yourself or you and your partner are, empty nesters and haven't had the opportunity to do things. I think we take it for granted a lot of times that because we done it, other people have done it too. That's not always the case. So yeah, shout out to her. I like that list. I think that maybe, even if you're not using that lady, her list of things to know is definitely something you should carry on to whatever travel agency that you plan on using. So you need to, what'd you say, Elsie? So I need to cancel the travel agent talk on my channel. Why? Why would you do that? I don't know. I don't think you need to cancel it. Why would you do that? The more people travel, the more they learn, and the easier traveling gets. I agree. And El Cid, if you're offering information of travel on your channel, that's definitely a positive thing. That's not something you should want to cancel. Yep. What am I missing? You said, yep. I'm missing something. Okay. She's being sarcastic. I was getting confused. I'll be bouncing back and forth over in the story and over here. Child, El Cid, I'm fragile this hump day. I've already put the blame on to go to Africa. I can't blame her for everything now. I guess I'm gonna have to take this with myself. Okay, y'all are joking. I feel better. This is my favorite subject. Not really, but here we go. Singer Montel Jordan, he was over there sitting down with Cam Newton, so I'm guessing this is probably something. I didn't care. I saw him over there with a hat on. I didn't want to hear what they had to say. So here he is over here. Montel Jordan says, a person is not all in if a prenup is signed. What? Is he broke? Is he trying to attach himself to somebody's money? It's It says a person is not all in if a prenup is signed in a marriage because it's an exit strategy and it gives people too many options. Yes, it's an exit strategy. I don't know. What do you mean gives people too many options? Anyway, oh, he's a pastor. Singer and pastor Montel Jordan is drawing attention for his stance on prenuptial agreements, saying that a person may not be fully committed to marriage if they sign a prenup. His argument is rooted in the belief that a prenup can function like an exit strategy, giving couples too many options before they even begin their marriage. The option is divorce. So, what do you mean? That option is still there. Jordan has spoken publicly about marriage, faith, commitment for years. In a conversation involving rapper Lecrae, Jordan reportedly told him, if divorce is an option for you, you have too many options. A message tied to his belief that couples should remove divorce from the table when trying to build a lasting marriage. Nobody goes into a marriage thinking about divorce necessarily, I guess. I wouldn't think that if I'm getting married, I'm not like when we get a divorce. That's misinformation, Montel Jordan. Jordan and his wife Kristen have also turned their own marital struggles into ministry work. Now this is marketing. Their marriage-focused platform discusses rebuilding trust, communication, intimacy, and healing after hardship, including infidelity, and financial stress. Who was the one that was committing infidelities, Montel? Tell me more. Who was the one that was over there being unfaithful? The prenup debate, however, is more complicated. Legally, a prenuptial agreement is a contract signed before marriage, right, that outlines how assets, debts, and financial matters will be handled if the marriage ends in divorce or death. Well, anyway, let me keep going. Supporters argue that prenups are not about planning to fail, but about financial transparency, especially when one or both partners have businesses, children from previous relationships, major assets, or debt. I feel like this is some scamish marketing that Montel got going on over here for sure. And he, is aligning himself, it sounds like, that this lady can't leave me, even if I cheat on her. This marriage is for forever. Divorce is not an option. I didn't hear that. Is he battling the big C? I did not hear that. And divorce and death is not the same thing. This country is getting so unaffordable, unhealthy, and unsafe that you need to expand your travel channel, El Cid. I agree. Who resurrected Montel? Cam Newton did. He was over there sitting on his chair, sitting on them chairs with their legs crossed, and Cam Newton got his thick old thighs up in the air. We should not protect our assets. We should not, high five. We should not protect our assets. We should not consider divorce. Even if this man cheated on you, you should have to stay there and work it out because, divorce is not an option. The real conversation is how more men are using marriage as a come-up strategy. They are. This ain't my ministry. I'm just over here being nosy. I would never marry myself to anyone. Never have, never will. Is this clickbait? I feel like this is, since him and his wife, I think this is him marketing whatever it is they got going on. I did not know he was a minister. So she needs to keep his dirty D and not leave him. Yeah, that's basically what I heard. He was sitting over here talking about how he, counseled his way through with it or whatever. Cross legs and ashy, ankles exposed. I see his ankles when he don't have shorts on. He wears no socks, so yes, his ankles are always exposed, and his thick old thighs be sitting up, in people's face. He even had Jamal Bryant over there talking about how he had pretty legs. He's as much a minister as Cheyenne Bryant. I am crying. I don't know what this man been doing since what? This is how we do it. What was that? 1992. I don't know what he been doing since 1992. Um, Continue doing it. Don't give up, El Cid. Now to go to Africa, they told me they was joking. I wasn't sure. I thought she was, I got caught up. So, I don't know if you joking or if you caught up too, but she says she's just joking. She's not going to quit. And Martell Jordan said he's not going to quit. Never going to do it. If you married to him, you are there forever. Let's see what the comments say. I heard a lot of divorce lawyers say everyone who gets married should have a prenup. Yeah, you don't know what the plan is going to be. I don't understand why they try to frame it as an exit strategy. It is not an exit strategy necessarily, unless you plan to exit. Divorce is always on the table. Ask Tina from Mary Mary. She was over there saying, we gonna work through it forever, ever, ever. And Teddy said, I don't know. He's still living off that one hit from the 90s, probably. And that's why he need to get over here and, change it up and go the ministry route where, him and his wife tour, like, what is it? That podcast where the man sits over there with the Call Me Wifey or whatever wifey podcast. I guess there's money to be made in it. I'm not your audience, Montel Jordan. So I will for sure never be signing nobody's prenup. That's something that I'm ever gonna need, a prenup. I need the travel lady though. So I'm gonna trade in one Montel Jordan for one travel agent that's gonna help me figure out, how to get the hell out of here. Child, have y'all seen Laz Alonso? Laz Alonso, incredible weight loss, sparks controversy over celebrities' Ozempic looks. I don't know if everything is Ozempic necessarily. Laz Alonso has fans completely shook with his dramatic new look. Now, I know he does like little B-movie type things. I still see him, out here acting. The Boys star, I've never seen The Boys, but it says The Boys star is addressing the massive weight loss, claiming he just cut back on his caloric surplus from earlier seasons to get back to his natural size. This ain't his natural size. He always been kind of thickum, so I don't know what he's talking about. Social media isn't completely buying it, with many people throwing around the old word and questioning if it's really just diet and change. So let's see what he working with over here. Because he's not as bad as that initial picture, but this new slimmer look, he has never looked like this. He said, I was heavy on caloric surplus when I first started the show. Alonso says, the season 1 and 2, I wanted to look like the comic. I don't know what the show is. Ciao. Now, I feel like this first picture might be, something from a long time ago. Nobody expected him to look like he did back when he was like 20s and 30s. It didn't hit me until I saw the promotional poster for the season 3 and I saw my face and I was like, who the heck is that? I actually asked Amazon if they'd added weight to me and I didn't realize how big I'd gotten. It's on Amazon. That's why I ain't seen it. I don't know. Somebody said got that brown paper bag. That's what it's looking like. I don't know if everything is not Ozempic. Whatever this brother is going through is none of our business. I mean, he the one brought it over here. Now, I would say, yeah, it's none of our business, but he started it. This is not a Chadwick situation necessarily. And if it is, like, he should not say anything. Not, they're blaming everything on Ozempic. He looks older. I feel like he is older. And no, the expectation is not for him to look like he did back in the 90s. But however, he was getting a little chubster. Now, I've seen him on something within the last year, a movie. He was playing a bad guy and he was definitely thick. Like, you know how you start eating and you start getting thicker in your old age. But I don't know that he would be ever this slim just by doing, he looks older than his actual age. Yeah, because I know I'm older than him. I feel like he might be in his earlier stage of his 50s. But, you know, like I said, I don't think that he's never been a small guy though. This skinniness in his face is, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that looks like a bad angle. You know, that looks like just a bad picture. Maybe it's not that bad, but this him in this white suit, that's not it either. He looked like somebody else. I don't know who it is. He looks like a different celebrity. Like if I seen that picture without, you know, him in the back, I would have never guessed that that was him. And if that's what Ozempic's doing, then you know they selling it like you could buy it down to the grocery store next to the gum these days. You'd be like, let me get a pack of Tic Tacs and you know a cigarette lighter, and yeah, let me get a bottle of Ozempic because you know that's how accessible it is right now. That white suit looks like the father to the guy. No, he looked like his own daddy. That's funny. He looked like somebody though. I don't know who it is. He does look like somebody who's normally slimmer. I guess y'all, if that's what it takes to stay in Hollywood, I feel like Laz Alonso was always been a working actor. But he never really blew up. But even now, like I said, he's still doing stuff. I see him in movies, so he's definitely still getting booked for things. Did he ever get married to somebody? I didn't look into his personal life. Is he ever like settled down? And he's kind of like Shamar Moore, isn't he? Out there just being handsome in Hollywood. Well, I wouldn't call him handsome anymore. I like a thickum. You know what I'm saying? That look like he'd eat a steak if I cooked it. He might want to white suit from The Godfather too. I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think about Hollywood and Ozempic being so accessible? Because I saw, let me see, I'll pull it up, see if I can find it. I saw Jasmine Sullivan and I clicked it, and then I was like, I don't want to talk about skinny Jasmine Sullivan, but Jasmine Sullivan is still right here. Where's she posting pictures at? Maybe it's this one. I know she's is she touring? Annie Lennox surprised fans in Philadelphia by bringing out Jasmine Sullivan during a vacancy tour to perform her song On It Together. So this was Annie Lennox's tour, but this is Jasmine Sullivan in this black latex catsuit. And when did that happen? When did we get, you know, she's not looking, is it Ozempic? What is it? Because I feel like if you have had your whole life trying to you know that you've been like, and I don't think she was fat by any means. She's just a thicker woman. See right here, this is all goodness right here in this green. This is all goodness right here. And it, you know, here she go down here to the cat suit. I don't know. So is that Ozempic or is that just low caloric intake? um, you said me too. I like a man with some meat on his bones. Yes, I like a little thickums. I don't mean fat, but I like a little. You know, he ain't got to be. I definitely don't like the bubble men that like be in the gym with bubbles like SpongeBob did with that muscle suit on. To me, that's a turnoff. I don't like the muscle bound dudes. I like a nice thick man. You know what I'm saying? Slight pot belly don't bother me either. High vibe. You say look like you over 50 and please give me some salt and pepper beard. I feel like all those boxes have been checked in my life. We'll see. We'll see. I don't have no prenup. Maybe P Ozempic for Jasmine. What is that? P Ozempic. Now I know you telling a joke, El Cid, but I don't get it. Um, I think Ozempic is. I think Ozempic and all of the other ones, what do they call it? GP, whatever they call those things. I think in the long run, it's not going to be great. It's one thing if you're doing it for the sake of diabetes or whatever it was originally meant for. But for me, and this is not, I ain't no doctor, not the kind like the medical doctor. I'm the doctor of love and hair design. Oh boy. Poor Zempic. Oh, okay. Is she poor? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this lady's finances, but I think this Jasmine Sullivan, like in the green, the juicy one, I feel the same way about her as I did about Alaz Alonso. She just looks very healthy and to me beautiful. We got to stop having one standard of beautiful for everyone. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because we're not all the same. Um, let's you say if we hate on the Zipic, then we should hate on BBLs. I hate on both of those things to go to Africa. Tummy tucks and all cosmetic surgeries. People go do what they do, make themselves look better. I am absolutely against BBLs because for the same reason, they're not healthy. Tummy tucks and all of that. Listen, people are, like you said, they're going to do cosmetic surgery because that's what they're going to do. I'm just saying, I feel like it's probably not the healthiest route to go when you're looking at somebody not with a severe weight problem. She wasn't like obese. She was just a little bit on the thicker side. You said she's written hit records. She shouldn't be broke. I don't know if she broke now. I ain't see nothing about her finances over here. I just seen her in that cat suit. And yeah, I just think that we as a people need to not have one set of beauty standards. It makes people try to achieve something that's unnatural, I feel like. If it's not necessary for health, I don't like it. Yeah, I agree, El said. No BBL is necessary for health. And Ozempic, on the other hand, like this is medication that is probably going to have some type of long-term effect. I don't think there's any way around that. And I guess some people feel like it's worth the trade-off, I suppose. You still like, especially like, these are R&B singers, so they be living in their misery. But yeah, I was surprised to see that. I didn't know we was gonna be talking about Jasmine Laz Alonso. I don't know what he's taking, but it don't look good. Most of the BBLs I've seen don't look good. They don't. Pac said, I'll figure out your sense of humor eventually. Oh yeah, it's like algebra, Pac. Ooh, because she gonna say something, and it's gonna be confusing. And if you're like me, you just gonna be like, Elsie, what the heck do you mean? You say, only time I agree with Dr. Umar, why I don't care about Caucasian beauty standards. He's one of those like Jaguar. He's right every now and then about some things. And it's the beauty standards. Like, I remember growing up, I have the same nose that I always had, but I'm a victim of being the only Black person in my class in school and stuff. But my lips were an issue for me. I used to think like, oh my God, my lips are so big. Fast forward to now, and my lips match my face as far as I'm concerned. And so does my nose. I used to have a problem with my nose, but I actually like my nose. And as an adult, I'm more attracted to wider noses than skinny little noses. So, the beauty standard was shoved down my throat, and it's not even what I actually like. So you live your life a lot of times looking for things. We're looking at like, even now, these girls in entertainment, they still want to go straight for the nose. And we look at all of these housewives, all of them, white, Black, don't matter. We look at them all. First thing they want to do is change their nose. They all have a different nose than they had the last time. And it's mostly women. Women got to be put through it far more than the men do in terms of, trying to comply to beauty standards that, don't even make sense. I completely agree with all of you, but if they like it, if they like it, they're gonna do it. Um, and we gonna talk about it because they're public figures, and we gonna say, girl, I guess if that makes you feel better, and and if you think you look better, then I guess that's fine too. But yeah, I don't feel like I think she looks better, but who am I? She don't know me. Jasmine Sullivan is a gorgeous woman, and she would turn. I agree. Are you talking about in this green dress? Because I didn't even know who she was when this is a beautiful woman right here. I don't feel like she needs to change anything. Same thing with Annie Lennox. And Annie Lennox is a slim woman. I think a lot of times people they look good in the space that they're in. You know what I'm saying? So neither one of these women need to rush out and get a BBL for whatever reason. A child, that's what they want to do. They always wanted a big booty. I hope she feels happy with it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say about it. I hope she feels happy with it. I'm nobody. I'm nobody to her. So my opinion is just that somebody is a fan. I think she's a beautiful woman, and hopefully she's now happy with the changes that she's made. I'll just leave it at that. Where we at next? Who's next on the list? Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, I'm not going to dwell on this too long. I can't go into I'm not going to pull up the Breakfast Club because they be out here chasing people down. Kevin Hart went on the Breakfast Club to talk about, the roast. And basically, he said he's standing by it. He said it is what it is. He said, the George Floyd joke, his answer to that is, I ain't tell it. So what you want me to say? I guess, I don't like roasts. And I feel like they should not be televised. And so if that's what it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if that's what it's going to be, because roasts are designed to be completely offensive. And if that's what it's going to be, then maybe, y'all should keep it private. And y'all want Kevin to answer to what? You said you had the same experience being the only Black in your class. You don't realize it's happening. You don't realize it's happening in the moment. There wasn't as much representation, for us as there is now. But yeah, you said changing your nose is a clear sign of self-hate. I prefer a wider nose. And like I said, I wouldn't have even known that had I not come out of the white bubble that I was put in. And I don't regret it because I learned a lot about how other people operate in this world. But I remember being in college and her name was Tiki. I can't remember her last name. I wouldn't say it anyway, but she was African and I went to fashion school. So everybody there wasn't straight out of high school. She was a little bit older. I was straight out of high school and she was in her 20s. So she had lived a little bit before she came to fashion school, but she was, brown skinned woman, beautiful skin, beautiful makeup. She was really good at doing makeup. She would wear, her hair tied up in turbans and things. And I just was so, enamored with her beauty. And we were having a conversation one time and she said something, we were talking about lipstick. And I said, I can't wear red lipstick. And she was like, why not? And I was like, because my lips are big. And, in that moment, this woman whose beauty I admired so much was telling me how crazy that is for me to not want to accentuate one of my best assets. And it's just that conversation. You don't never know. That lady probably doesn't remember me any more than, any of the other kids there. But she affected my life in a huge way because I walked away from that conversation with a different kind of confidence. And, as I grew into my adulthood, realized the assets of, my own personal beauty. What you say to go to Africa? I'm blessed to have grown up in an environment where people have strong racial cultural identity. I spent a lot of my life as an AA, as an only African American in many situations. So I had pride as I was called racist. I mean, I feel like a lot of us in this country have grown up in those, we're minorities. So it's not unusual um, to find yourself in that type of situation. I went from high school to Atlanta. So Atlanta for me was like, also I'm from Flint. So Flint, is highly black populated. I was very much grounded in terms of my home life, but my school life was, all white people. And then when I moved down here to Florida, the population of black people were in my area was little to none. And then now I'm in a whole different environment. So, you're affected, I think, even like in the music, and we can get into that at another time, but even in the music, things are kind of subliminally, getting in our head without us even knowing. You said you went from a majority black high school to a PWI, quite an adjustment. It is an adjustment. And like I said, I feel like a lot of us have found ourselves in that situation, especially if you have parents who are trying to put you in a situation which they deem I can only speak for my mother. I understand why she did it, because she wanted me to be exposed to things, and I was, and so I appreciate that. But it's difficult being the only black in a situation with all white people all the time. My friends were at home after school, not at school. Somebody needs to write a book about it, because it's a lot of us. The outcome seems to be it will make you more militant or a sellout. Well, we know what box I fall in. They be talking about the light skinned militants. Oh, um, we believe that black have more attractive bodies and faces. That's what I believe. I mean, I guess it's what you like. You know what I'm saying? I think it's normal to like what looks like you. This is the thing. I I feel like it's okay to appreciate your culture, whatever it is, but you don't have to downplay somebody else's culture. My blackness is what makes me beautiful. That's how I look at it. So don't try to focus on the things about me that are not that. Both experiences have value. I would agree with that, Pac. But I also think, like I said, my home life was very balanced, and I think when you're surrounded by only not people of color, when you're surrounded by only white friends at home, white friends at school, I feel like you need it in order to be balanced. Otherwise, like you said, I guess you could call it a sellout. You end up with Jamal down here with the Jewish lady trying to buy property at the all white community. It robs you of your innocence. I feel like it was operating similar to adult going to work. Yeah, you have to code switch. And I remember as a small child, my cousins used to be like, listen to her talk, because I picked up, the slang, which, they were saying over at school versus what, was happening within my own neighborhood. You said maybe Brian can do thesis on this. Pack, if you want to know what else's sense of humor is like, it's this. Maybe Bryant can do a thesis on that. She won't do a thesis on it, but she'll say she did, and she'll say she was honored, and that how, it's been a number one bestseller. Um, let's see what you said. Fortunately, it wasn't easy for me to transition from one environment to the other, because I didn't feel inferior in any way. You didn't feel inferior? Then why was it more difficult? Oh, you said it was easy. It was easy. That to go to Africa, that has to be like because your home life made you feel confident. You know what I'm saying? You have people in your ear that, were counteracting that thing. I think a lot of times, like let's say Candace Owens, for instance. I'm just using her an example because she's, quite the sellout. But I think it's little things, like even with the Hispanic women that I run across, even with the Hispanic women that I run across, being told, especially Dominican for whatever reason, being told they'll be like 18, 19 years old going, this is the first time I've worn my curly hair because my mother used to always say, straighten my hair, straighten my hair. And I'm not talking about somebody with tight, kinky textured hair. This is somebody with just curly hair. And even then, little things like that your parents do, that your family does, that these little, what I guess would be similar to microaggressions, you know what I'm saying, coming from within your household, saying things that affect you and you're not even realizing. Even if a lot of times mothers will say things about themselves that are negative, and then you say it in front of your daughter, and then when your daughter gets older and starts to see these things within herself, it's automatically negative. So you know what I'm saying. So like we were saying earlier, the wide noses and just little things, thick hips and thick thighs and all the goodness that we should be appreciating in ourselves. We had a lot of pride in our culture. It's time for us to take that back. It's time for us to start instill that in our younger generation. And I feel like the generation after us might be a little bit better off than we were. We were in a weird time and place. You said you aim to be misunderstood, child. I agree. She's blessed to have that foundation. Yeah. So that's food for thought, y'all. This is a conversation that might need its own segment. Those are things I'll probably start doing, like when I start having memberships. Zendaya once gave her entire film crew at least 1% equity in her film Malcolm and Marie. This was a weird movie. This was a strange movie. Anyway, I mean, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it was different. So they would earn a bonus after the film. So the movie was sold to Netflix an estimated 30 million. Each crew member made at least 300,000 plus. Then Zendaya is somebody who comes from a well-adjusted family too. This is amazing. I think these people a lot of times go work on movies and see, the actors and others come up financially in a way that they never do. When you're talking about makeup artists and people like that, they don't make tons of money on those projects. It's projects that you have the opportunity to put in your resume, but it don't necessarily pay off in your bank account. 1% on the back end changed. It says who? The film crew. They never would have got that $300,000 from one project. I think that's something that should be implemented. It didn't cost her anything. She got her money. She gave up 1% and changed people's lives. And then she's so young. Usually the stuff that you hear about her is always, maybe that's why she's blessed, because she, thinks of other people in that type of way. It was very generous of her. That's what I said. High five. 300,000. That's enough to invest in themselves in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's life changing. You could at least go buy a house. Whatever they did with it, it was money that they weren't going to make. 1%. That's wild. But I feel like that's something that should be implemented. Like I said, she didn't lose anything. She only gained more opportunity, and everybody else comes up. And I think that's how it should be. I think when you're working on a project with people, everybody should have the opportunity to come up. It shouldn't be a thing where, it's all me, Jeff Bezos and so many others. You said, I like seeing multiracial people like her have so much pride in herself and other people. She does. And I mean, outside of the racial thing, I think that's just being a good person. I don't know what the crew looked like in terms of, what races they were. It was just her thinking about people that are working underneath her and the opportunity for them to like benefit beyond, because I would imagine the crew And those people, when the people say it's a wrap, that's what it is for them. It's a wrap. And whatever they got paid, in the process, that's it. That's all they got paid. So yeah. Shout out to Zendaya. She's usually out here on the positive side of conversations. Cardi don't always be on the positive sides of conversation, but I'm gonna go ahead and say congratulations to Cardi B. She sweeps hip hop categories at the 2026 American Music Awards, and she becomes a 9-time winner. So I did not watch the American Music Awards. I don't know those people. Cardi had a very successful tour in spite of all the things that came before that. She went out on this tour, just having delivered a baby in the middle of divorce that I don't believe is settled at this point. Baby daddy out here, making multiple other children along with, court cases and things. And so she went into that tour with a lot of drama. She came out on top with, record breaking numbers. And she followed it up with American Music Awards. I looked over there. I didn't know none of those people. So I didn't see no reason to discuss it other than, Cardi took away 9 in the rap categories, and that's what she is. And this was her sophomore album. This is the album that everybody was like waiting on for so many years. And the sophomore album is a bit of a challenge when you have a successful, freshman album. And so she's been doing features and things, and very highly anticipated album that did well for her. And I think it's nice to finish everything off with some awards. I was proud to see Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, host an all-black people party in France this week to organize black tennis players around the world. That's very cool. I feel like Naomi, like she's always been in her bag. She came in her bag. She stays in. I would like to see more of her personality. She seems like, and I mean, I guess you see it in these types of situations on a private level. France is something else. And, we go over to France and they try to kick Kelly rolling off the red carpet and all that different, the racism over there is strong. So yeah, I think that's very cool. That's very dope of her. I would like to see, like I said, more of her personality. She's always seemed so quiet and reserved. But yeah, shout out, congratulations to Cardi B for her success over here on the award arena, because that's a big deal within her career, within music in general. Let's get into some foolishness before we go. Speaking of music, Wyclef Jean is set to release 7 albums in 1 year using AI, but acknowledges the one thing that the AI can't duplicate is soul. So what does that mean? Because I'm tired of these people, these producers, these men, who come over here and don't want to pay the talent anymore. The artist plans to release 7 albums in 1 year. That's far too much. I don't know that I need that much Wyclef, but it won't be him. So he's using what? Through his Quantum Leap project, spanning genres from reggae to R&B to country to carnival music. Jean says AI has helped speed up the production, particularly with orchestration, while emphasizing that one thing that AI can't duplicate is soul. So then, so then who's the album? Who's going to be on the album? What is the artist? Is the artist going to be pretend or not? You said she got a lot of criticism for it. She's very introverted. Yeah, you talking about Naomi. Yeah, she comes across very introverted. So yeah, what does this mean for the music? 7 albums is a lot. So we haven't heard anything in terms of artists. You mean AI can't replace soul? Then what are you replacing it with? First comment. So why do it? Good question. Oh wow. I saw Wyclef in person. Another thing AI can't duplicate is BO. Was the man was stinky? I don't know. I think 7 albums is a lot. I don't know what he plans to do, who he's releasing it. Is there any artists involved? I need more information, but to me, it's disheartening that, Wyclef, rather than working with an artist, would choose AI. I mean, that's how you replace yourself for sure. So where is the soul coming from? That's what I would like to know. I didn't watch this, so we gonna watch it together. Let me see what y'all are saying first. You said, how authentic can albums be if they're AI generated? I agree. How does AI work in production of the music? Good question. We need more. We need more Wyclef because, yeah, Wyclef is so annoying. I don't know. I feel like Wyclef was putting out good projects back in the day, and it's just sad to me that I see Wyclef, Pharrell, Timberland. A lot of the great producers are now doing AI, using AI rather than artists. Timberland has a whole artist out there that looks like an anime character. So, I don't know. I'm aging out. I don't know what these kids is doing over here. Okay, I haven't heard this, so let's listen together.
I go around respecting everybody, but others just don't have no respect. Now that we're talking about no respect, y'all in boxing, right? I keep telling all of y'all, the girls that box, whatever, keep the shit boxing, right? Because that's what I do. I don't get into girls' personal lives. Baumgartner decides she want to keep mentioning me and my relationship in her mouth. Now, to her, I've never spoke about how she's a whore.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've never spoke about that. How many guys she done slept with, how many boxers she done slept with, what she done. I don't speak about her life. Right? But she has gotten too comfortable. First, you disrespect my boxing. Trying to say that my resume ain't this and ain't that. Try to disrespect my legacy. Try to say I got AI 6-pack. You want to say I'm jealous of you because you cute and I'm supposedly ugly. I try to go around respecting everybody. And then after all that shit don't work, then you bring it to my relationship. That's what the conversation was about, to tell her, keep popping it how you popping it. But keep that there out your damn mouth. Because I don't go around talking about how you're a whore and you have a Jezebel spirit. I don't walk around talking about that. So now, since we want to talk about it, since we talk about people's relationships, no. We about to get into it. Because I try not to get personal, but now since you want to get personal and you want to keep running your mouth, I got something for you. I didn't say this. I didn't say this, by the way. I'm just confirming it now.
We really know you. Alicia, niggas that really ran to you, nigga. Stop it, nigga. Sonny Fredrickson.
And then, after all that shit don't work.
She's using Adrian Bronner as a receipt. I'm sorry.
Then you bring it to my relationship. That's what the conversation was about, to tell her, keep popping it how you popping it. But keep that there out your damn mouth. Because I don't go around talking about how you're a whore. And
you, Bunny ran through you.
Robert Eastern.
Ran through you, boy. Hold on, Dominique Rose. Ran through you. Hold on. Montana Love. Ran through you.
I don't know got this.
Everybody has some, man. Tony just like you.
So hold on. For somebody to run around and say that I'm jealous of them, I want to be them because they so cute and they this. Baby, I'm untouched out here. Flat out. All them dudes plus more that was mentioned ain't never, could never. But she run around talking about some, I'm jealous, I'm envious, I want to be her, I'm insecure. No, baby. Letting everybody do what they want to do with you, that's insecure. That's insecure. And I'm not insecure about my looks, about my size, about nothing. I'm a very beautiful chocolate dark woman, and I have no problem with that. I'm strong as hell, beautiful as hell, tall as hell. Love it.
I wish she actually believed that. Like, she's been saying it lately, but I wish she actually believed that. This is just exactly what we were talking about earlier. You know, to me, Clarissa Shields is not ugly. I avoid talking about her because, because she's the homie, from Flint. Um, she got notes. I'm looking at y'all's comments. I wish she actually believed, though, the things that she's saying about herself, because they're actually true. I want to see the slap true high vibe. I keep hearing about it. Unfortunately, I don't think she believes it, because if she did, oh, child, y'all and these like get in front of the camera and just keep going on and on and on. I wish we were talking about her boxing, because we're not. We never are. Every time we come over here, it's this and pap hoops.
Love it. I wish God would have made me darker. Love it. Very well accomplished, very well rooted up in God too. Just because you're rooted up in God does not mean that you're perfect. No one is
She's very rooted up in God. Okay.
perfect. But what I will say is I have a great relationship with God. But sometimes you have to. Is this video done? Hold on.
Ass up, man. Tony just like.
Hold on, I'm gonna run
Shout out to
it.
Tony. I fuck with Tony. You know what I know? He's the hoe on the stroke. And we got money.
That's crazy.
Money too.
First of all, I'm not even a person who will argue with Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner will come and say he crazy. But like I said, I
So you use the receipts from a crazy person to prove your point. That doesn't make sense.
respect that he can class insecure. And I'm not, after she was talking shit about him and inserting herself in something that had nothing to do with her, he came out and exposed all her business. Exposed all her business. So when you want to talk about me and all my, and try to talk about my relationship, just know that I've never took your low down there with you and talked about how you're a whore. And now she was talking about how you're a whore. Why the hell did your ex-boyfriend reach out to me? Listen, I knew you was a hater, but I didn't know it was that deep. I didn't know it was hell deep, your hate. But after talking to this, I got it now. I understand it now.
Does she have any girlfriends? Is there any women in her life that this is too much. Is there any women in her life, you know what I'm saying, that help like guide her through? Because I don't think there is.
And guess what? It's worse than what I thought it was. It's worse than what I thought it was. I thought maybe you was a little jealous and maybe you wanted to have the start after she was talking shit about him.
Clarissa Shields banned from MVP events after slap incident with fellow boxer Alicia Bob Garner, and Alicia threatens to sue. That's whack, Alicia. Don't sue. Papoose is not worth all this. I agree. And that's why I said I wish she believed that shit was true, that she was saying about herself, because if it was, you know, she wouldn't be this whole thing. She came over here to defend her relationship. I didn't see the slap, El Cid. I saw, you know, the up in each other's face and the going back and forth. And at the end of the day, I saw a boxer the other day. Let me see if I saved it, because I'll be saving things and then, you know, move on. But it was a whole lot of bravado. It was even pushing and shoving going on. And she still didn't lose her character until, you know, it was time to put up them dukes down to the ring. Here it is. Oh, no, we can't have Rihanna over here running her mouth. It says, oh, it's in Spanish. And I don't think there's a translate. But, I mean, we don't need the translator. We could see. These two women were, you know, how they do the pre-ring thing, you know, showing off their medals and things, and then it's time for the fight. So you can see this white boxer is being rude and disrespectful every time they pose and in front of the camera. She pushing. That girl did not push Clarissa. So there was, before she got slapped, there was no pushing going on. But this girl here is physically pushing. I'm going to just say white and black. The white girl keep pushing the black girl. The black girl is smaller. She's very pretty too. I don't know who she is. I'm going to have to do my research. I don't know who this girl is. Caroline Du Bois and Terry Harper. That's who they are. I'm guessing. I don't know which is which. Terry Harper walks in the ring. Terry is the white girl. She letting her gloves do the talking inside the ring. So there it is. Not once on that press run or whatever that is, did the black girl I don't want to call him by the wrong name. Not once did she put her hands on with all the pushing and shoving. Look, elbow up in the face. Get out of there with that. This is crossing the line to me. That didn't happen with Clarissa. They was just over there going back and forth. Clarissa wasn't even in line to fight. So the girl said something about Papoose and that was too far? Because over here, these are just two boxers trying to promote. And a lot of putting hands on each other until, time to fight. Look at her pretty girl. She was like, let me show you what it's going to be like that when we get down to this ring. That's a lot to me, that elbow all up in her face. I'm watching it again because I enjoyed watching her get her tank rattled. And it didn't seem like it took long. Boom, boom. You was doing all that just to get knocked to the floor. It's a part of the industry, I believe. I believe you should be able to go over here and get on red carpets in front of microphones and things with people and still maintain your self control. I've never seen male boxers carry on like this. They don't. They talk a lot of smack, but they don't. This girl's over here constantly online talking. I'm pretty. I know I'm pretty. Okay. But you can keep saying that, but we know you don't believe it. And it pretty don't matter because trash ass niggas is treating everybody the same. Clarissa knows she cannot use her hands on folks. Isn't that against the law? Isn't that against the law? Isn't she technically not supposed to put her hands on nobody, especially somebody that she was not even scheduled to fight? She slapped her, and she's over here admitting it. So I don't know how smart that is, but nobody's ever been over here accusing Clarissa Shields of being smart. She used Adrian Bronner. We're going to leave on this note today, y'all. She used Adrian Bronner as a receipt for, what this girl's hoe facts. I don't know what being a hoe has to do with anything. What is a whore? What is a whore anyway? I don't know. So Adrian Bronner, I guess this is another, I don't know why these girls keep going over to this house. At this point, y'all know what's going on. As previously reported, Aya was flustered. Aya was flustered on stream after an interaction with the former boxing champ, when the former boxing champ made her uncomfortable. While speaking to the Shade Room, Bronner denied any wrongdoing, saying, man, ain't nobody violated that girl. She over here doing it. However, he also shared a message directed towards Aya, adding, tell her I said I'm sorry and I apologize. Call or text me. I don't know what this is. Why is he always over here? Anyway, this is what he was over here doing. The same thing we've been seeing him do. He said, man, ain't nobody violated that girl. She over here doing it. Well, I don't know what that means. Tell her I said I'm sorry and I apologize. Call or text me.
Nah, that's cool.
Why I hear music right now?
Oh, no. I played it earlier.
Hey, wait, chill, gang.
It's good?
He's single one out. I gotta sing.
No, chill. No, bro, chill.
Yo, I'm gonna go home.
Yo, that has never happened to me. Like, that's the first time, like, somebody's actually, like, slapped my ass or tried some shit on me. Like, I've never, ever, like, that's crazy. Like, that's honestly so crazy. And I really hope he apologizes because I know he's drunk, but being drunk doesn't excuse your behavior. But that's just, like, all around weird. Like, I low-key wanted to cry in that moment. I'm not gonna lie. It's my first time too. Like, that's never happened to me ever.
No, it's 11. Nah, that's cool.
Why I hear music right now?
No. I played it earlier.
Hey, wait, chill, okay?
It's good.
He's single one out. I got a single.
No, chill. No, bro, chill.
What is she doing there? It's just a room full of niggas. What is she doing there? What are they streaming? I am so lost when it comes to this. This whole streaming thing. Every time you see Adrian Bronner, he is somewhere drunk. The young lady said, I understand he's drunk. Then you should also understand that you are not safe. This young lady is dressed in some teensy weensy, her little teeny cakes is hanging out. You know, she's scantily dressed in an environment with all those men under the influence. And I have seen video after video of whatever this streamer is over here doing it every single time. Adrian Bronner is crashing out, being disrespectful, doing too much to these girls. She is leaving this place wherever they're streaming at by herself. She's just over there by herself. You know what I'm saying? With all these men that she doesn't know them. What is this? I'm so confused. I don't know what this whole thing is. I don't know what it's about. I'll be on YouTube, but you know, I'm too old to be following streamers. I don't know what it is they're doing. Every time I see them, and I feel like he's way older than all of these people. So every time I see them, he's over there, you know, drunk and inappropriate towards women. And I feel like this is not going to end well. I feel like that this is going to end with Adrian Bronner. I didn't follow his career. I don't know what type of boxer he is, but this is going to end bad. I feel like this is going to end with a mugshot. Somebody is going to get hurt. One of these girls are going to be violated. I'm not wishing that on anyone, but I'm saying it's a recipe for that. I see a young girl with her little cakes out in this room being disrespected wherever she walking out in the night. I don't know who's recording it, but she's by herself. Nothing about that feels okay. And so, yeah, we're going to have to do better, y'all. This is not okay. It's just not okay. The young girls need to have a different message. I don't know what the message is. I don't feel like y'all need these guys to stream anything. If that's what, you know, if that's what it's about, we don't need them for streaming. Especially if they just go and sit around and be drunk and do whatever it is they're doing. I don't even know what that is. Let them, you know, rub swords together over there and stream by their daggum self, because I don't see any reason for these young girls to be over there. Anyway, y'all, that's it. Enjoy your hump day. I'm going to go enjoy what's left of mine. Enjoy your lunch. I'll be back tomorrow, 10:15. You know how we do it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. You said before I'm going to get this one in to go to Africa before I sign all the way out. I agree. I hope she gets some type of guidance ASAP. It's not even just her. Every time I see Adrian Bronner, it's some, you know, women in a house and a lot of alcohol and, you know, disrespect. But yeah, y'all, I'll be back tomorrow, 10:15. Be there or be square. Bye, y'all.